Alright, it's Tuesday, June 11th. I got about 2 hours till dark, so I'm going to do a little bit of bass fishing up here in Tioga County. I just got a medium action spinning rod, 10-pound test mono, and I'm going to start off with a green tube jig rigged up on a 1/4 ounce jig head. So see if I can catch any bass out of this little reservoir here. I haven't caught a fish yet, but I got a beaver swimming through the water in front of me. Pretty cool to see something. I can see a bunch of little bass here in the shallows, but nothing that would be worth bragging about if I caught. But I'll keep fishing with this tube jig here. Hopefully I can hook into something. Well, it took quite a bit of time, but I'm finally hooked up to my first bass. Been watching a bunch of smaller fish in the shallows, just kind of ignoring this bait, but this one kind of hit it as soon as it hit the water. Not a bad sized largemouth. Get him released and keep fishing. 2 casts later, I missed a fish on my last cast, and this cast I hooked up to another largemouth. About the same size as the last one I caught. So what I caught those last 2 fish on is a gulp 5-inch sinking minnow. It's a green pumpkin and pearl combination color on a 2/0 wide gap worm hook. I don't have any bullet weight, so I'm just kind of trying to make do with some split shot. And I was just kind of pitching it along the edge of this submerged timber here, and I caught both of those fish right out of here. But nothing else has been biting the last couple casts, so I might move down the shoreline, down that way, and see if I can get any more fish. It's Thursday, June 20th. I'm out here on this little reservoir here in Tioga County, going to do some bass fishing today. And we'll see what I can catch today. I'm probably going to use mostly little tube jigs and just Texas rig worms, and we'll see what I can catch today. Well, it took some time, but I'm finally hooked up to my first bass. He's not huge, but he put up a pretty good fight. Alright, well, I'm hooked up again. I had to drag this fish through some brush. It's a little bit better fish. It's Thursday, June 27th. I'm back out here in Tioga County about to do some bass fishing on this little lake here. I was already over here. I was throwing a 5-inch soft plastic worm, and I was getting some follows, but I only had one hit and I missed the fish. There aren't a lot of big bass in here. I've seen some that are 5 pounds, but the average is probably closer to about 1 or 1.5. But this lake gets actually a lot of pressure, even though there's nobody here right now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to downsize. I'm going to go with ultralight. Start throwing some little tubes, some tiny crankbaits, maybe a couple spinners, basically some trout gear to see if I can't coax any strikes out of these fish. So we'll see what happens. Well, it took a little bit of time, but I'm finally hooked up. Real little bass, caught it on a pink rooster tail. Well, I wasn't having very much luck with lures, so I ran back to the sporting goods store and bought some minnows. And this is already the 3rd fish I've hooked on them. I didn't turn the camera on for the other 2 because they were small. Not a bad sized bass. Alright, a couple casts later, I'm hooked up again. It's a pretty small bass. It already has another hook hanging out of its mouth too. That stuff hanging out the side of its mouth right there isn't mine. Get him released and keep fishing. Alright, well, first cast in here, caught a largemouth. Get him released and keep fishing. Alright, well, I caught about 4 or 5 other fish in between. I just haven't been turning the camera on. But here's another bass. And get him released and keep fishing until I run out of minnows. Alright, well, I caught a bunch of other bass before this one. I just didn't film them because they were all kind of small. But I'm going to start filming now because I'm down to my last 2 minnows after this fish. So hopefully 2 more casts and 2 more fish and I can get out of here. It's starting to rain. The rain's going to change into thunderstorms here pretty soon. So like I said, hopefully 2 more casts and 2 more fish and I'll be good to get out of here. Alright, my second to last minnow. I'm hooked up again. Probably lost the minnow by now, so I'll be down to 1 more minnow after this. Now these bass I've been catching today, they aren't very big, but I've been using my trout gear, ultralight rod and 4-pound test, and they put up quite a fight for their size. So this has been a pretty fun afternoon, even though I haven't hooked a bass over 2 pounds. So I'll get this one off the hook and get my last minnow on and see what happens. Alright, well I'm going to call it a day for today. I hooked a fish on my last minnow, but it came off the hook. Took the minnow with it. So all in all, it was a pretty good day of bass fishing. I missed a couple fish on some regular bass tackle, you know, some bigger soft plastics. And went out, got about 2 dozen minnows. I only lost 3 fish on the minnows, so I've caught about 20 fish, maybe more than that. But I'm going to get out of here now. The rain's starting to come down harder, and it's going to start storming here pretty soon. But it was a pretty good afternoon out on the water, about 2 hours worth of fishing, and I'm going home with no bait, so that's always a good day.